Rebecca Long-Bailey is one of the leading lights of the Labour leadership. She's pretty central to the whole Corbyn project, if you like. She's also from Manchester, so I have a little bias towards her as a northern scamp. But I want to talk to her about Labour's vision, about what they're up against, and also a bit of cheeky socialism. Clement Attlee established a post-war consensus: welfare state, economic interventionism, public ownership, higher taxes on the rich, strong trade union rights. And that consensus collapsed in the 1970s. And Thatcherism came along and established a new political consensus. Some call it neoliberalism, sexy old word. Just throw that in the pub, everyone's talking about it. But is that consensus, do you think, now falling to pieces? Is that the moment we're living in?
Well, it has fallen to pieces already. I think we saw that when the financial crash happened, and even mainstream economists now, people that we would normally classify as being on the right, are saying that the economic consensus that we've got now just doesn't work and that we need to have a new one. The funny thing is that, you know, when we started out with this project, when Jeremy became leader and we started talking about state interventionism, investment being the catalyst to spur on private investment, we were classified as complete morons, if you like. People thought we were living in la la land, and now we've got, you know, the Financial Times and other economic kind of broadsheets talking about this being the way forward, that we have to have a Keynesian approach to our economy.
The FT said we should renationalise water.
I know, I nearly fell down when I read that the other day. The sad thing is that people will forget that it was a Labour idea. But we need to change that, I think, as a Labour Party, and make sure that people realise that, you know, we really did blaze the trail with these things.
So if Labour came into government and you were the cabinet minister for business, the portfolio business. What's the full title? Business,
energy, and industrial strategy. Say that after
that's
a couple
the
of
one.
glasses
I
of
know,
wine.
blimey, rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? So you know what the critics in the press, who obviously overwhelmingly hostile to the Labour Party, would say is that the economy will be bankrupted, business will just flee the country, there'll be mass unemployment, the economy will become like Venezuela. That's their favourite thing at the moment. How would you respond to that?
It's absolute rubbish. You have to invest to encourage private investment. You have to have an industrial strategy to provide businesses with long-term security. It's also about making sure that we have fairness throughout that industrial strategy, so that the wealth isn't sucked up to the top, as we saw with the neoliberalist consensus, and that we make sure that companies are being run in a fair, pragmatic way that involves a range of people, including employees and stakeholders, so that all, you know, society feels that it has a stake in our future, if you like. It's about making sure that we've got access to I could go on all day. It's about making sure we've got access to finance. It's about labour rights and workplace protections to make sure that people, at the end of the day, have a secure and good quality of life going forward, because we want an economy that works for everyone. And the whole point of having a productive economy is so that the British people can have a decent quality of life and standard of living.
So how's the deficit going to go down under a Corbyn-led Labour government?
Well, the deficit would go down because we would create a more productive economy. That's the first point to make.
What does that mean, productive?
Productive economy, well, you have to invest to make sure that we have a more productive economy. We've got the lowest productivity that we've seen for some time. Wages are stagnating. We're actually in a position now where people's wages are lower than they were before the financial crash. We aren't investing enough in research and development to spur companies on to develop the products of the future. We're one of the lowest countries in the OECD in terms of investment in infrastructure. So we're not putting the tools there that businesses need to grow, and that's affecting our productivity because businesses don't want to take the risk. You have to, you know, give businesses an incentive to invest before they will invest. They want to see that there's a long-term plan for growth and productivity, and that hasn't been there for some time. So if we provide those building blocks through investing in infrastructure and skills and all the rest of it, that will give businesses the push that they need to put their money where their mouth is and take the risk to invest more and increase their productivity.
What does socialism mean to you?
It's fairness. It's about making sure that wealth is shared out in a fair way across regions and nations and to all people who are working. It's about making sure that that hard work pays, but it's also about having a civilised society. It's about having a social contract that means that you will be looked after if you're sick. You will be given a good education. We will look after you when you're old, and we will thank you for the hard work that you've put into this country. In a nutshell, socialism is a civilised society.
In the general election campaign, you saw pretty vicious attacks from much of the press. It was a very personalised onslaught and so on. I mean, did that ever get to you?
Well, it has been difficult. I think when you go into press interviews as a politician, it's less about actually getting your policies and ideas out and more dealing with an assault course of the traps that they're going to try and lead you into. And I think when you've been, you know, one of the Corbynistas, if you like, you know, pretty much every media interview is a set of traps to try and encourage you to say the wrong thing or slag off somebody else in the Labour Party, and all you want to do is tell people what you're about and give them the opportunity to decide for themselves whether they like it or not. It's an unfortunate kind of culture that we're in, really, I think.
And we'll slag those people off camera. I'm joking.
What would you say to people who didn't vote Labour last time, who weren't convinced, either they didn't come out to vote, they voted for another party? What does it have to do to win those people over who aren't sceptical? What are the key things for you? When you meet sceptical voters,
it's trying to explain to them that voting Labour will change their lives. This isn't, you know, we're not tinkering around the edges here. This manifesto that we'd put together was a transformational one. It brought hope, it would bring prosperity, and it would transform Britain. And what I want to do over the next few months is show people what kind of jobs there are. So I can go back to Salford and say, look, in Salford, we're going to have a factory that does this. We're going to have a business that does this. These are the kind of jobs that your kids are going to have. Do you want that? If you do vote Labour, I want to be able to go back to Salford and tell them that we're going to build houses, not just houses for sale, but social houses, so that all those people that are waiting on waiting lists now and don't have a decent home to call their own, I can tell them that they will have a home. In the same way that, you know, we dreamed about these things in 1945, it wasn't just about limiting the worst excesses of the economy. It was about creating an economy where everybody did well and that everybody had a good quality of life. A new society, that's it. It's not just about public spending and, you know, deficits. It's about the kind of society that you want to see.
So that's Rebecca Long-Bailey on Labour's vision. We've got loads of interviews to come. And I want your ideas, actually. Leave some ideas below the comments. Who do you want me to chat to? Maybe people I probably don't agree with. We can have a little spat if you like. All the videos we've done are up there, so not all of them. Some of them, just click on them if you like. And as ever, leave your thoughts, subscribe. I'll see you next time.